G'day and welcome to another big edition of the Ballarat Football Netball League Footy Show. All thanks to McDonald's. Looking back on last week, my name's Yeendy. I'm joined by Shane Anwyl. Starting to shape up now, mate.
Yeah, it is. There's some results that are falling the way clubs want and not, obviously. It's a bit of a cliche, but I think we're starting to see the ladder take a bit of form at the moment and sort of start to settle down a bit, I think.
Definitely right there, mate. One of the first big games we'll have a look at for the weekend is Sebastopol finally got their maiden win of the season, this time taking down Lake Wendouree. Certainly great signs there for Sebastopol, convincing 56-point win.
Yeah, that's right. They've been thereabouts over the last couple of weeks and they really needed to have this win. I think we spoke about last week, and to get over Lake Wendouree was a good result for the club. I know they took a lot out of it, and they did a lot of searching in the 2 weeks leading up to this game when we had the bye for the interleague weekend, and I think it's paid off on Saturday with a really good win.
Exactly right there, mate, and having the bye before the interleague, just a couple of weeks off just to get their younger players right and get all the right combinations ready to go. Is it worrying signs here for the Lakers? They've dropped one that they probably should or could have won, really? Oh,
yeah, I think so, although a lot of the games are 50-50, could go either way. I'm sure Lake Wendouree went in with a lot of confidence that they were going to get over the line in this one. I think it leaves them with 2 wins for the year so far.
That's right.
They need to start stringing a few more together if they're going to play some action in the finals.
Exactly, and the ladder is starting to really take shape. Darley, they've monstered Redan with an emphatic 57-point win. Brian Graham had a blinder on the MCG, backed it up with 7 goals. I hear he kicked 7 goals, 6 on the weekend.
Yeah, no, not a bad output on the weekend from Brian. Yeah, look, Darley just went about the business with Redan. Redan are having a tough year, as we know. They're sitting on the bottom of the ladder. Darley is sitting right up there at the top. So I think it was the result probably reflected where the two clubs are at. Darley were expecting a good win, which they got, and Redan, I think they might have thought that they kicked 10 goals, 7 was their score, which is not too bad, but it just wasn't good enough against the class of Darley.
And they haven't played too badly, Redan, this year. Other than that round 1 hiccup against Sunbury Lions, they've been in the contests of all the other games, and probably for Darley, the win they really needed too, because they've had a couple of wins this year, but they've been sort of by narrow margins. But this is to get that first 4-quarter performance under their belt, and with some of their big guns firing, your Brian Grahams, Dylan Reid had a blinder in the ruck. These guys who had the experience on the G, they took that form in, and the rest sort of started to grow around them.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of the guys who did play in that interleague game backed it up and had really good games on the weekend.
And from all reports as well, Jake Edwards, who's a legend in his own right, came back through the 2s and had a sensational contest as well. Bacchus Marsh finally ended the hoodoo at Eastern Oval. I think we spoke about last week. It's 12 or 13 years since they won during the home and away season at Eastern Oval. They faced an undefeated East Point who played pretty good footy this year, and Bacchus Marsh, they got the win in a tight one.
Yeah, it was in a tight one. I think the game certainly lived up to the hype about match of the round. It was a close one all day. Bacchus Marsh skipped away at the end there. I think they get 17 points in the end, so it's still a close margin reasonably. Both clubs, I think, will take a lot out of this for a little bit later in the year. Certainly a good win to Bacchus Marsh, but also a good game for East.
Yeah, definitely a good game for East. Sort of shows where they're at. And we'll look through a couple of the other games. North Ballarat City, too strong for Melton South. One of the big upsides, though, Will Young kicked 6 goals. He's kicked about 17 in the past 3 weeks. He's in great touch there for City, and that combination with him and Sammy Dunstan up forwards looking pretty good. I know Dunstan didn't have the best game on the weekend, but if Will Young keeps kicking goals, there's plenty of excitement if you're a City fan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, he's in good form at the moment. North City on the weekend played first 2 games in a row on Mars Stadium, so they're relishing that to get back on the big venue there, and they'll have another game this week there.
And the other game too, Melton jumped back on the winners list for the first time in a few weeks with a big win over Ballarat. It was 7 goals to 1 at half time, and the Bloods kicked away and basically just did what they needed to do.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Yeendy. They did what they needed to do. It was a tough game for Ballarat, 6-11, so their goal kicking accuracy hasn't improved from the week before either.
13 points.
That's right. So, look, they need to find some goals there, obviously. But I think you summed it up best when you said Melton did what they had to do.
Exactly right. Well, that has been the Ballarat Football Netball League wrap-up of the past weekend. All thanks to McDonald's. Shane, thanks so much for joining us for this edition. We look forward to catching up with you later on in the week.
Pleasure as always.